wear them, bro. It's tacky. They've been laying on their deathbed trying to match me. I ain't never heard of you. Flying through the turbulence. Who is me? Free lunch. Craft services. I throw your ass out this rental if I smell nervousness. Hey now, say now. I'm around my... It's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's all blue strips. Hello. God. America is really just balling right now, bro. How am I feeling? I'm feeling okay. Poor Tim Walz, bro. I think it's time to start insulting people in America, by the way. I do think insulting people is coming back. I think we need to insult people. Tim Walz is disrespected. Americans are too smart. Resulting to insults is the inability to make an educated argument. Well, guess what, buddy? Education and educated arguments are not working. We need narratives. You could talk about your educated arguments. I'm gonna be educatedly dumb. You could have education and satire. You can mix those things. You could be entertaining. You don't need to be Hakeem Jeffries. You can insult people and be logical and care about freedom. That's 100% a thing you can do. I guess so. Ahoy there, SpongeBob. Ahoy there, me SpongeBob.
Research and study, the drones that were flying over New Jersey in large numbers were authorized to be flown by the FAA for research and various other reasons. Many of these drones were also hobbyists, recreational, and private individuals that enjoy flying drones. In time, it got worse due to curiosity. This was not the enemy. A state drones.
Bro, conspiracy theories are crazy because every conspiracy theory that's wrong, which is 99.9999% of them, never gets corrected. But then with drones, for example, the big conspiracy theory, Trump said we're going to release the truth about this.
After research and study, the drones that were flying over New Jersey in large numbers were authorized to be flown by the FAA.
Now that's the answer that every sane human being had when that story came out. But people are giving themselves like permanent brain damage based off the internet, convincing themselves to have panic attacks 24/7 for no reason. It's actually insane. It's such a simple answer, but people are not happy with simple answers. You realize if Joe Biden said this, by the way, if Biden's administration said this about the drones, I guarantee you they don't trust it. They do not trust this answer coming from Biden. Guarantee you. It's just the FAA. You know, they're authorized drones.
For research and various other reasons. Many of these drones were also hobbyists, recreational, and private individuals that enjoy flying drones. In time, it got worse due to curiosity. This was not the enemy.
Yeah, and the news ran this story like it was a legitimate thing. It's crazy. Americans, get a hold of your... I don't even know, bro. People believe whatever they want to believe. We live in post anything. Post-truth, post-fact, just post-bullshit. All right, there's one TikTok.
A state...
Okay. All right, buddy. So, What else? Trump sexuals. Make sure you drop a like on the stream, by the way. We'll see if we get any algorithm. Any algorithm push. There's so many good TikToks today, bro. I don't know if I have enough for a full video, but there's enough TikToks. Neo-Nazi Squidward gotta be on TV more, bro. Yeah, so condoms. Condoms are trending on Twitter. Crap.
Was about to be.
All right. Why is condoms trending on Twitter? It's because the White House lied completely. They said Doge and OMB found there were 50 million taxpayer dollars wasted on condoms for Gaza. A huge waste of taxpayer dollars. This is now accepted by a majority of Americans, I'm sure. And also we see that there's people reposting it, and it's completely false. Completely false. Completely false. Fake news. False. Meanwhile, Doge is claiming they're saving America $1 billion per day. So Doge is saving America $1 billion per day, maybe $3 billion. Because they can lie, no one cares, because they're Trump sexuals. They're Trump sexuals. They will trust anything this administration tells them.
Doge and OMB also found that there was about to be 50 million taxpayer dollars that went out the door to fund condoms in Gaza.
It makes no sense either, okay? $50 million in condoms. If you believe this, you need to go on a spiritual journey. Because you are at a point of no return. You will believe literally anything. You are the most gullible person in the planet. You have been so infected with Trump sexuality that your ability to reason is gone if you believe this. I have a bridge to sell you across the Atlantic Ocean, bro. Like, you cannot believe this and be a functioning human being in society. You need to get help.
That is a preposterous waste of taxpayer money. So that's what this pause is focused on, being good stewards of tax dollars. And so this doesn't.
So the pause is focused on a complete lie. And also Doge claimed they're saving America $1 billion per day, maybe $3 billion per day eventually. Also founded on a lie, because Doge told her about this fake condom spending that was never real. $50 million fake. It's actually $0.
Does that affect Meals on Wheels or Head Start or disaster aid? Again, it does not affect individual assistance that's going to.
And by the way, it did affect those programs, but people got mad. So the government, the fake Trump oligarch government, scrambled to turn those programs back on, essentially. But those services were shut down in like 22 states that reported issues. But yeah, complete lies, spawning off of lies and lies and lies. And then they have more propaganda arms working on it. They have this dumbass at night talking about it.
When you buy them in... Condoms cost a couple pennies when you buy them in bulk. It's at least according to heartthrob Stephen Miller.
Yeah, so Stephen Miller, the neo-Nazi Squidward as well, all right, was on CNN. And also, they're making condom bombs. That's right, Hamas floats these things and then kaboom, booby trap condom. It's a dual-use technology. You really think they have homing condoms, okay? And that's not to say balloons have never been used in any kind of warfare. But just in general, again, if you believe this stuff, your brain is broken. If this is something you think about during the day, your brain is corrupted. Your brain is broken with the dumbest possible stuff in the world. It's insane.
Jessica, 1,000 condoms.
Are they worried about safe sex?
1,000 condoms per person. Yep, we sent 1,000 condoms per person to Gaza. That makes so much sense. So much.
Because you know what they're doing with the condoms?
No.
They're making condom bombs. That's right. Hamas floats these things up with bombs.
Bro, they can say anything to you dumbass Trump sexuals. They can say literally anything. You'll believe it. You'll believe literally anything. You are love struck. Your ability to comprehend critical thought is broken. Stop. Get some help. You don't want to be that person that believes literally everything about the world. Get some help, please.
Bomb-making materials and then kaboom. Booby-trapped condom. Look it up. It's a dual-use technology. Thank God they got rid of that.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say. Jessica, would you like to respond?
Yeah, I don't know what to say about this made-up story. And by the way, if you think this guy's funny too, then you also are... Look at him, dude. Your brain is broken, Jack. I promise to tell the truth.
American public,
Popular with the American people.
Unlike the last administration, we're going to tell the truth. By the way, there's $50 million a year being spent on condoms for Gaza. That's completely true, bro. Anyways, we have a God. Neo-Nazi Squilliam, or Squidward. Neo-Nazi Squidward went on CNN, and I said here, we just had a presidency shift parties like 8 times in a row. There's a big ideological diversity in the government, but these guys in charge are not conservatives. They are Trump-sexuals. You know, they are Trump-sexuals, and also just in general. Squilliam, Neo-Nazi Squidward is tearing it up on here. Thank you for becoming a supporter, Bucky. I appreciate it. Supporting tier member. Thank you.
How long is this review going to take? And when does the federal funding for these programs resume?
Well, in the original executive order that addressed NGOs, foreign aid, and other grants, that was a 90-day review process, as you know, Jake. But again, more fundamentally, I think we're missing the big point here. Do you believe, does anyone believe, that an unaccountable, career-tenured bureaucrat should be able to approve vast sums of money for the projects that they personally agree with, that no accountable employee in the federal government has reviewed?
I'm literally asking about Meals on Wheels. I mean,
by the way, what he's saying right here is not a thing that's happening. There are not federal employees just approving funds and projects that have no checks and balances or whatever. Trump tried seizing the purse today, going directly against the Constitution. This was a constitutional crisis, by the way. And if you think it's all fun and games and a joke, eventually you're going to know what's happening. It's going to come for you. You know, when we destroy our sense of American freedom, it's going to come for you. They don't care about you. They don't care about you. They see you as an economic output. And yeah, everyone is just okay with it.
I mean, you know,
we are,
but
Jake, yes, Jake, you do know what I'm talking about. I'm telling you, as the memo says in black and white letters, no financial benefit programs to Americans are affected. No individual assistance programs are affected. It's there in black and white.
Yeah.
We always knew that the media was going to spin up fake stories to try to create controversy, to try to create scandal. I'm not saying you, Jake. I would never say you. I'm not saying you.
We invited you on to clarify, Stephen, and we just heard
and I'm here.
Right, I know, and I appreciate it. And I want to turn to immigration in 1 second, but
you.
I'm just saying, Republican Congressman Don Bacon was hearing from constituents. We have no idea where the constituents were getting their information from, but I will say, last night, when people started noticing this order, people were upset based on the executive order. I was hearing from them directly.
The executive order, Jake, the executive order was issued 7 days ago.
I understand that, but it was going when the word got out.
This is an OMB guidance document.
Right, exactly. And when that went out,
and everything only resumed because a federal judge blocked it. Everything that's happening right now is in Project 2025. You can literally just go look at Project 2025 to see what they're doing now.
2 million employees in the federal government. Overwhelmingly, the career federal service in this country is far left-wing.
Yeah, the Medicaid and SNAP programs went down, but also saying that our civil servants are more left-wing. More left-wing people care about government working for people in general. They get educated for it more. They get experience in it more. They're more interested in those fields in general. And like I said before, we had H.W. Bush after Reagan, then we had Bill Clinton, then we had George Bush, then we had Obama, then we had Trump, then we had Biden. The bureaucracies and a bunch of other agencies are bipartisan or nonpartisan in their makeup. There is ideological diversity, extreme ideological diversity. But now the issue is, if you're a Republican, that's not good enough. You need to be a Trump-sexual, or they do not accept you. You say one thing against the God King, you are now the enemy. And that's what ultimately creates authoritarian movements. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of diversity, a lot of different parties in important positions. But now, you know, Milley and John Kelly, these generals, are now disgraced in America because of Trump calling them weak and pathetic. In the same sentence, saying that Vladimir Putin, we should be aspiring to be Putin instead of Gold Star fathers and 4-star generals.
I don't
people.
I don't know that to be a fact.
Well, I'll give you a great example. We looked at USAID as an example.
That's
98% of the workforce
What is their actual plan? Their actual plan is to cause chaos. They want to destabilize governments in general because governments are the only thing preventing authoritarianism. A government for the people, by the people prevents authoritarianism. That's why our founding fathers created our government in the way they did. Because if we do not have this government, private interests take over. Dictatorships take over without checks and balances. So if Trump is going to just say, we are the executive branch, we control the judiciary, and we control the purse for Congress, we could just shut down government funding whenever I want to. If Trump's going to say that and no one pushes against it, you effectively have a totalitarian dictatorship in the U.S. You have to understand that. If those checks and balances fail, you have totalitarianism in the U.S. Dictatorship. And I guess you can debate how far that goes, but that's the goal. Destabilize every mechanism to hold corruption accountable. They want to get rid of the National Labor Board. They want to get rid of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. They want to get rid of every part of government that protects like regular people against the government. They want to keep the parts of government that benefit the wealthy. So Elon Musk is still going to get billions of dollars in government contracts. Musk, Bezos, all those guys are going to get all the benefits of government, but they want to take it away from the poor to siphon it to the rich. That's the entire goal. They're chaos agents. Meanwhile, they have us fighting over pronouns and immigration and trans issues and whatever else. Whatever other social issue they can get the Trump sexuals mad about is our like daily fight. And now they spread a lie about us giving $50 million in condoms to Gaza, which is completely fabricated, made up. Doge is saying they're saving $1 billion per year, $3 billion, not per year, sorry, $1 billion per day, $3 billion per day in America, making this fabricating numbers. This government will lie to people they do not care at all. And the American people were believing the lies before they became the government. So we'll see how far this whole thing goes.
Donated to Kamala Harris, another left-wing candidate, just as an example.
Okay,
but let me just 8% of the workforce either donated to Kamala Harris or another left-wing candidate.
So if the qualified workforce for these positions leans in a certain political realm, so for example, for clean water, okay, there's probably a lot more liberals working there than conservatives. And then like finance will be more conservative because liberals want to do more jobs that affect the whole world and can have a positive impact. So more social workers are liberal, more finance and business and trades are going to be more often conservative. So we're talking about people in government who are doing jobs that you need to understand how government works to do. And he's saying essentially, we need to have loyalty tests in government. So one thing the White House is doing right now, they're asking people, when did you become a Trump sexual? When did you, when did you have your MAGA revelation? When did you join the Trump cult? Now there's people buying like the Trump meme coin, which he's making $50 billion off of, or whatever the number is. It's insane. Trump's making more money off that meme coin than Nancy Pelosi did her entire career off of real estate and stocks. But now people are buying the coin. They're trying to avow their loyalty to Trump. They're trying to be like, I'm the biggest Trump sexual in the room. So the White House hires them because they want complete loyalty. When Trump fires all the government watchdogs that span over Republican and Democratic administrations, including Trump's administration, when he fires all the government watchdogs, that is authoritarianism. He does not want any check on his power whatsoever. That's what Project 2025 said. They are following Project 2025 to a T. To a T. And the news media in the U.S., CNN, MSNBC included, including the so-called liberal sources, did not hold Trump's feet to the fire on Project 2025. It was so obvious. He knew what it was. He was involved. He's best friends with the people who made it. And now he's doing every single plan to a T. And he's not even asking a question. They hand Trump an executive order. Like, hey, here, Trump, here's another order to sign. He's like, whoa, what is this one about, guys? And they're like, yeah, this one takes us out of the World Health Organization, and this one like ends ends Social Security. He's like, oh, okay. He like signs his name on it and throws it to the side because he wants to go golf and talk about his golden showers more, the golden era. Sorry.
Just as an example.
Okay, but
let me just
an entire workworce is having a
wait, whoa. Did you just say that saying someone voted for Kamala Harris is demonizing them?
No.
So according
you're suggesting.
He's demonizing the entire workforce. Okay, the entire workforce is being demonized because you're saying they are partisan. You're saying this entire workforce, just like when they call them deep state bureaucrats, etc. You're saying we need to root them out, which essentially means we need to get anyone out that disagrees with King Trump, and we need only Trump sexuals in office, is what, or in any office, in any bureaucracy, in any federal office, in any program in the U.S. It needs to be run by Trump sexuals, 100%. We need loyalty. Loyalty tests, not competency, not if you're good, not merit-based, if you're loyal. That's why they chose raging drunk Pete Hegseth for Secretary of Defense, because he is a loyalist. He's a yes man. He's very easy to control. Yeah, they want loyalty. Loyalty's all that matters now.
Suggestion is that there's a bias.
No, but you used the word demonizing. You just said that I'm demonizing somebody by saying they voted for Kamala Harris.
Let's get back on track.
But I am on track.
Okay.
You're saying they're partisan.
What I'm saying to you is this. There are 2 million employees in the federal government.
Right.
They're overwhelmingly left of center. The
Again,
American people, I got to finish this
Left of center.
sentence.
Okay.
The American people made it clear through Trump's mandate. I guarantee you he's going
I
to say
got to
that.
finish the sentence. The American people voted for dramatic change.
Okay, so when the American people voted for Trump by 1 percentage point, one of the smallest victories in American history, they wanted to root every single person who disagrees at all out of the government. They wanted to eliminate anyone that disagrees. That's what a 1% win means, apparently. Meanwhile, Biden can win by like 8 million votes, and apparently his mandate was nothing. Make sure you drop a like on the stream if you're watching this on YouTube. Drop a like. It really helps the algorithm. Please make sure you hit the thumbs up button. It really does help. If you want to call into the show, okay, you can hit the Google Voice number. All right, we'll take some call-ins. It is insane. It's whatever, though. He has such a big mandate. They're getting you to believe a false version of reality because they know you're Trumpsexual already. So, like, it's so
all
easy.
of the wonderful people who work behind the scenes.
Russian TV propagandists calling Kash Patel their boy, calling Tulsi Gabbard their girl. And also, Russian TV called Elon Musk.
Network.
They even said that Elon Musk is obviously bringing back Nazi symbolism and has a lot of Nazi intent in his actions. So, I mean, you can join the Discord as well. But make sure you drop a like on the stream. Really helps the algorithm, gets more people in here. We got like Tim Walls. Tim. Beautiful. Okay. I love how this computer can't load Google Voice now. Beautiful. Great. Is my, like, internet not connected, bro? That's just annoying, for real. Alright, if you want to call in, feel free to call in to the show. The phone number's up there. Wow, this computer is actually lagging. Crazy. People called me today at 8 p.m. Why? Yes. Basically. We're not all slaves to the algorithm, okay? Some of us actually understand how that stuff works. There's certain things you believe that are completely, obnoxiously just wrong, just false about the world. And you get mad if other people don't agree with your delusions. You don't know how the founding fathers envisioned our government working. You don't understand the Constitution. You don't care. You're okay with a dictatorship if it's your daddy Trump. If you're a Trumpsexual, you're okay with it. Why is this not working?
Was disappointed today, and that happens very rarely.
Andrew Cuomo. The drones came out. Finally, the deep state government secrets about the drones. Finally, it comes to the surface because of Daddy Trump.
I was disappointed today, and that happens very rarely. I thought that they were going to say some things about what's going on and the different kinds of drones and the new reality and what has to change, and we got none of it. Was I just wrong in my expectation, or are we?
No, everyone has conspiracy brain because everything needs to be crazy. It can't just be a simple solution. It can't just be like a simple reason something's happening. It needs to be an insane theory in your brain because the internet is breaking everyone's ability to think critically at all. We see something in the sky and we start like yelling at it like we're cavemen, Neanderthals.
We still waiting for the truth.
Yeah, I mean, just logically, good to see you. Just logically, that explanation does not make any sense. You know, did the FAA authorize the ones that buzzed Langley for 17 nights in a row, or the untrackable drones that infiltrated 3 U.S. and UK air bases for weeks? You know, why were the drones not affected by anti-drone technology? Did the FAA issue flight restrictions if they authorized this? If these were approved tests, why did the FAA, DOD, FBI, or anybody else, why didn't they tell us that for months? It's an absolute whitewash. It's
Because there are certain things the government does not need to tell you literally everything about at all times. When the public is convincing themselves that there's like UFOs, if the public's going to convince themselves, and I said this when the story came out, if the public's going to go bonkers, you can't just like shut down everything about the world to suit the Joe Rogan conspiracy theorist. Just because Joe Rogan's spreading conspiracy theories or whatever does not mean we need to shut down the world to like give them answers. Like that's not our number one priority in the world. We did give that. We did give an explanation, by the way, that it's like a simple thing that's happening. But people did not accept that because they think it's aliens or they thought it was an invading country or something dumb. Trump sexuals in my chat. Keep on talking all that crap. I thought Tim Walz gave a pretty sobering view today. Wait, I think.
Governors, we set to deliver. We have to look at
Tim Walz. Let's see his response to the federal. Oh, Trump. Wait a second. Trump administration offers buyouts to nearly 2 million federal workers. Tim
Look,
Walz.
it's on. I'm glad you said that. Governors are out there. The resistance is strong. You felt it. Americans, lo and behold, like democracy and feeding their children. So they're going to fight for these things. But
I don't know. Do they? Do Americans realize it's possible to not have a functioning government? Because I said this before. When you have a functioning government, people don't really understand what it does. So they take it for granted. They take stability for granted. You know, we finally got that, and people just like give it up instantly. I had to wear a mask in the pandemic, guys.
Call from.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Hello?
Well,
Howdy.
is this the number for the stream?
Yeah, what's up, man? You're live.
Hey, I'm just calling in. I'm wondering, would you like to talk about the prompt that you got up there?
Yeah, man.
All right, so give me a question and I'll try my best to answer it.
Why is Donald Trump asking people when they try to join the White House staff, why are they asking when their MAGA revelation was? And why are they making people swear loyalty to Trump above the Constitution?
I'm not aware of this. What's the source on that?
You could look up Trump White House purity tests. I could pull it up on stream. They're asking like, when is your Trump revelation? Do you give all loyalty to Trump? And also for like Trump's nominees for different positions like Secretary of Defense, and a bunch of other different things. They were asked multiple times, would you put Trump or the Constitution first? And they refused to answer. And that question should be easy for any American. The president does not come before the Constitution, ever. But it seems like we're getting that a little bit backwards right now.
No, I actually agree with that. If that's true, I don't think that should really be a part of the process. Obviously, it's his right to make the hiring decision that he chooses. But personally, yeah, I wouldn't agree with that specific statement if that's true, to put him above the Constitution. That wouldn't be that wouldn't be something I agree
Well, they
with.
never say it explicitly, but you'll ask, for example, if Trump gives an unconstitutional order, would you say no? That was directly against the Constitution. And they just refuse to answer, and that's kind of how they approach it, because they don't want to like actively say no, because it looks really bad, or they won't say they'll put the Constitution below Trump, but they just like refuse to question, if that makes sense. You could watch Hegseth, you could watch Noam for Homeland Security, you could watch a bunch of them. They just would not answer questions on a lot of these things.
Okay, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna take a look at that. Yeah, because I'm not fully aware of that, so I can't really speak to that.
I mean, that's
But
fine.
yeah, I don't.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of weird stuff right now.
If that's true, I don't agree specifically with the statement. If the intent is there in the statement, because which I said, obviously I don't. I'm not aware of that.
Well,
So
and
I
for the
can't
federal
really.
government too, they're explicitly saying they only want loyalists in the federal government. So they want to root out anyone that's on the left at all. And these are people that have been in the federal government for like, I don't know, Bush and then Clinton and then Bush again and then Obama and then Trump and then Biden. So it's a lot of bipartisan, or at least, you know, it's pretty independent or nonpartisan or non-political or apolitical, I mean to say, in a lot of these agencies. But they want to fire all the federal workers who have any leanings towards Democrats, and they're like telling people to like investigate their employees and report to the administration if they find anyone who ever says anything about DEI. And if someone says something about DEI, you need to report your fellow employee, or you get reprimanded.
Well, I don't agree with DEI just on principle, but
Do you agree with like
I don't.
being told to spy on your coworkers?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I don't agree with DEI in principle, but I don't think I wouldn't take it that far.
Yeah, I
But
mean, like, you could be against DEI. We could have a conversation about it, but no president should instruct people to have gag orders or threaten people if they speak out about, their opinion, or tell you, obviously, you cannot talk about this topic. They want to shut down all conversation and just fire people that disagree, it seems. You could look that up, too. That's another guidance that Trump put out. But that was in Project 2025, too.
okay, I'm gonna go and take a look at that as well. Got any other questions?
I don't know, man. Trump's doing a lot of weird stuff with tariffs, in weird countries. He's starting a lot of feuds with our allies, and he's not saying anything bad at all about Russia or China. He seems to be only attacking our allies. He's putting tariffs on Taiwan now. It seems just a little bit, I don't know. I don't know what his motivations are. Yeah, it's kind of wild stuff going on. I don't know.
What do you think about the illegal immigration? What's your stance on that one?
So they're making it into a reality television show. They're reporting like ESPN stats every day for number of deportations. They're doing per quota. So they're doing quotas, which means they're gonna get a lot of people that probably don't deserve to be deported, because they want to meet these huge numbers. They've already detained U.S. military vets by accident, for example. So they're not doing it in a very good way.
Well, it depends on what deserves to be deported. What's your definition of that? As far as who do you think should and shouldn't be deported? That's
Well,
the
only like
main,
40% so far. It's like 40% of those deported so far have any evidence of any type of violent crime. So around like 30 to 40% of deportations have been any like accusation of violent crime, and like 60% has not done any, has no criminal record at all. So it's been a little bit, they're not just going after violence. They're also going after just working people, and they're going into like actual places of work, and attacking the immigrants there. And these are just like hardworking people trying to provide for their families. So they're not really focusing on, just violent crime. They have Dr. Phil out there. Look up Dr. Phil. They're making it into a cute little show because it's really entertaining. Apparently.
Yeah, I've seen that. Well, what do you think as far as the illegal immigrants or known illegal immigrants? What do you think the criteria for having someone deported should be? Should it be just being in the country illegally as a threshold for deportation, which is closer to where I would fall? Or do you think it should be only committing violent crimes? Or do you think it should be committing any crimes, or are you against deportations, full stop?
I would just say violent crimes. So for example, if you're an asylum seeker, it's actually not illegal at all to be in America. At most, it's a civil offense. But saying that like any person who's in America and who's not a citizen and who has no visa, saying that person is like a criminal, is not true under the law. So you can like say it's bad or whatever, but there's people who've been working here for 5, 10, 20 years, who are now like deporting. And I feel like, these people have added a lot to our communities. They've had families here. All they've done is work hard. If they have no record at all, we should give them a path to citizenship, because every president talks about, like, we want good immigration. We want to give a path for those who, like, are, you know, adding to our communities and working really hard. But there's no plans to really expand. It takes a long time to become an immigrant in America, or to become a citizen in America. And also for these people who've been here a really long time, it seems even more messed up because they've been promised, after all this hard work they've done to help provide for our communities, after all this hard work, they're being deported and treated like they're violent criminals when they haven't even really committed an actual crime.
Do you think that an illegal immigrant is jumping the queue for actual legal immigration? And do you think that's fair to people waiting in line for actual legal immigration?
Well, they're not. I mean, we don't have cases of just like jumping the line, because we know, like, for example, who's seeking asylum, who's seeking what kind of immigration claim. Jumping the line isn't the best way to really look at it. No system's ever going to be perfect. What I would say is we should focus on making American, just communities in general safer, and having a really productive United States economy that has a lot of good output that actually helps people and helps communities be better. And I feel like even right now in America, we're becoming really isolated and afraid of each other. And immigrants have always been a positive force in America. Their crime rate is actually really, really low because they don't want to be deported. So like jumping the line, I feel like that's just like a really emotional way that Republicans like to frame it, and like politicians like to frame it to get people more mad about it. But I don't see anyone expanding there's no Trump plan to make immigration easier. So if you care about jumping the line, then we would have passed like a border bill or something. But Trump said no to that because he wants to do it all through executive order. But that's also not going to expand the resources we need to make immigration easier. So if we care about jumping the line, we should also care about expanding it. But I don't think it's genuine, because if it was genuine, like I said, they would talk about actual solutions to the immigration system rather than just deporting and building a wall, because that doesn't fix the immigration system, right? That fixes it creates a physical boundary, and it also it spends a lot of money to get people out of the country. It probably spends more. It does spend more to deport people than it does to give a path to citizenship. And we're not fixing the core causes of our problems with immigration. That's my biggest complaint, is that we talk about immigration now in the worst ways possible. It's emotional. It's angry. We're not really talking about solutions very often.
When you were saying that it costs more to deport than to have a legal immigrant go through the process, what is what's the source on that, or what are you talking about in terms of the expense? What would that be?
So like right now on an average flight that Trump is sending out, it costs a lot of money to send ICE agents out. There's also legal battles that cost a lot of money. And then as well, the flights that Trump is sending out, the military flights, are around $800,000 per 80 people. So we're spending $800,000 to move 80 people, a majority of which are not violent criminals, and have commit no crime, in fact. So we're wasting a lot of money doing that. It just costs a lot of taxpayer dollars, especially because the vast majority of immigrants in America are working pretty, low wage jobs, long hours, are providing productivity to the workforce, are being taxed with no representation and no ability to receive any benefits from our government. So I mean, in general, it usually costs a lot more money, disrupts communities, makes communities less safe, because now people act in desperation. If you're going to have ICE acting like a paramilitary force going through neighborhoods and just like ripping kids' parents away, it just does not make much pragmatic sense. And if you're talking about like violent crime, sure, but they're not fixing any immigration issues. They're just like, I don't know, they're going after numbers. They're chasing stats. Like if you look up the social media pages, the fact they turn it into a reality TV show with Dr. Phil, and they're putting up like, we got 1,000 of them today. That's not anything to deal with like the actual world. That's emotional. That's just like, we want to get an own on them. Like we want to own the libs by deporting immigrants. It's just like, how about we actually talk about solutions,
So while we're on the topic of immigration, what do you think the solution would be for the border? So whether or not you deport or not deport the illegal immigrants that are in the U.S. right now, what would you do for the border situation right now? What would be the best course of action forward?
Our biggest issue by far is we don't have enough capacity to deal with all these immigration and also with all these asylum claims. So we need to expand our ability to manage that situation and make it more clear on how to become a citizen, and to what processes get people to that point. And that was one big thing that we, talked about with the immigration bill that Trump told Republicans to not vote for. That was like a conservative dream, that border bill that Trump said no to. He instructed all of the, Republicans in Congress to say no to that bill. That would have been one of the biggest that would have been the biggest conservative accomplishment through Congress of all time, probably. But they said no to it. So probably something that provides more funding and more, more capacity for us to deal with claims, having an actual standard for, what is accepted in general. And also, like, we know the idea that we don't know who people are or where they are doesn't make sense. Like, we have a really good grasp of that. But the issue is it's a backlogged system. So we don't get people in front of we don't get people's court date soon enough for them to actually go and see a judge to see if their asylum claim can be granted. But yeah, it is like, it's a law, for example, that we need to accept asylum claims. But like, Trump doesn't really care about that and probably wants to change that law. So I don't know. It's hard.
Yeah, I think that's something we can both agree on. The legal pathways need to be streamlined so that we can get people in, get them vetted, whatever we need to do, and not have such a, I think there should be very tight border security.
Well, that's the issue, though. That bill that Trump told them to vote against would have helped add more funding to those things you're talking about. Trump voted that down because he doesn't really care about the issue. He wants to just like campaign off it, make it a political thing, because they could have gotten a lot of this done in that bill.
Yeah, that's what you're talking about, the bill that the Republicans voted against, correct? Or basically as a unit.
It's the bill that was going to pass with like 20 Democrats and like 50 Republicans. It was going to be bipartisan. But Trump said to Republicans to vote against it. It's the one that, what's his face made from Oklahoma or whatever. I forget his name.
Yeah. So as far as the this current election, what do you think would be the Democratic Party's best way forward for the upcoming election? What do you think they can improve on, or they could have done better in this cycle?
It's 100% messaging and narrative building and being able to talk in a way that sounds popular. That's what Trump did effectively. That's what Republicans do effectively. Like Trump, just today, his press secretary spread a lie about Biden sending $50 million of condoms to Gaza, and a lie about them making condom bombs and having 1,000 condoms per person because he wanted to help them have more engagements or whatever with each other. And that was a complete lie. The press secretary said that on behalf of the White House, and they said Doge told them that. The number was not 50 million, it was $0. So it's hard to confront the right wing in America right now because they completely lie about so many things. We can go through a list of things that even you probably believe and go down the factual basis of them and find that many of them are not true. Like many things Trump says are intentional lies. And I don't know how Democrats compete with that because it's like fighting someone who has like an infinite number of moves and superpowers. They could just make stuff up as you're going along and deflect whatever happens next. I mean, it was grocery prices this election. Now egg prices are like $15 a dozen or whatever, and Trump's doing nothing about it, and no one cares. Trump has done nothing on grocery prices, but apparently, people were dying before.
Egg prices,
okay, they're like $7. They're like $7 a dozen average nationally. They were when Biden got them to like $3 or $3.50 a dozen nationally. People freaked out. And they said they couldn't feed their families. But now I see the same people saying, you know what, it's more expensive now, but I love Trump, so it's okay. The standard for Republicans changes so much, but I need Democrats to have an opposing narrative, to have an opposing reason why they want to run for something that's more based on fighting, instead of just fighting to maintain the institutions, fighting to make them better, or fighting to, I don't know, be anti-corruption, taxing the wealthy, because they usually are more pro-taxing the wealthy than Republicans are. Something that's about like worker power, that kind of stuff is probably going to be what they need to go into.
Okay, so a more populist approach would be,
well, they don't need to be populist, but they could be like more aggressive on those topics. Like populism to me is like there are elites hiding secret information from us, and we need to go as a mob and take them down. I don't think they need to spread conspiracy or get people pissed off to that extent, to a revolutionary extent. But I do think they need to say things that are popular and just be forceful about it. So, for example, like you don't need to be a populist to reinforce the Constitution or reinforce that we should have no kings and justify taxing the 450 billionaires Elon Musk has $450 billion of net worth, breaking up their companies, trust busting, Teddy Roosevelt, bring back Teddy Roosevelt style politics, Teddy Roosevelt and some like Franklin Roosevelt rhetoric. Teddy Roosevelt was big on breaking up big companies, and now companies are way too big. Meta's too big. All of Musk's enterprises need to be broken up. Amazon is way too big. Like, break all these companies up. You could be pro, like, I don't know, free market capitalist and still be efficient in how you use the resources by taxing and also trust busting. So I'd probably say that that's probably the biggest thing they should be probably running on. But I mean, the policies did not help Democrats this cycle at all, because I don't think people even knew what the candidates were running on. So it's really difficult to say.
Okay, so they need basically more clear messaging about where they want to go, basically.
Probably more smart emotional messaging, because like Trump gave no clear direction on where he wants to go. He gave narratives and just like a vision that he believed in. Or not even believed in, but just like the golden age of America. That was not a plan. That was not a policy. He just said like tariffs or whatever. He literally said, I have concepts of a healthcare plan multiple times, even just 2 weeks ago. Meanwhile, Kamala was talking about expanding Medicare to cover at-home costs and $6,000 child tax credits and small business loans and incentives for home builders to increase the housing supply. And Trump is just like, we're going to kick out the illegals and make woke illegal. So like, I don't know. It's really hard to go against that messaging. And I guarantee like most of my comment section is going to be like, name one Kamala policy. And I'm like, I can name 10. But like, if I talk to like, even right now, he still has not given a plan on groceries. He still has not given any plan at all, other than drill baby drill, which is not even like a viable option, because we're already drilling at our all-time records under Biden, moving to Trump. So I'm like, yeah, our energy is not getting any cheaper. So I don't know.
Okay, so as far as the January 6th pardons, what's your stance on that? What are we thinking?
I think it's really crappy that Americans are being so manipulated and so beta to the point where Donald Trump can come after January 6th to try to save his ass legally. And Trump said after January 6th that these are violent criminals who need to be put in jail instantly. Now they're patriots. Now Trump says the rioters were us and the cops were them. So it's okay to beat up cops as long as it's, for Donald Trump. Just like he's doing with the government. Loyalists are all that matters. So it doesn't matter if you commit crimes. There's people that are child, that Trump pardoned. Child, criminals that Trump pardoned from January 6th. There's people that caused cops to have permanent brain damage and strokes until the point where they put themselves out of their own misery. And died by suicide. There are cops that are disabled their entire lives now. There's cops that lost their eyes and a cop that lost 3 fingers. 140 police were injured on January 6th. And now it's apparently, now they're saying that the groups that did that are actually patriotic. And Trump wants to bring them to the White House and respect them on a pedestal. So that reminds me of the brown shirts for Hitler in Germany, where it's like, oh, these outside militia groups, they're actually going to be deputized now. We're going to respect them because they're going to fight for us outside of the system. Like, it seems very scary that Trump's idolizing these people. And it's also just crazy that Republicans call January 6th the worst event for American democracy since 9/11. And now they completely just like pretend they never said that. They just say, if you ask them, oh, I don't know about January 6th. I haven't really looked into January 6th that much. So that double think they have for these topics is really, really scary. And in 1984, the book, they warn about double think rising up in like a right-wing authoritarian government, because that's what 1984 is about. It's about far-right radicalism, and how that leads to authoritarian control. Animal Farm, that Orwell also wrote, is about communism and how that leads to authoritarian control. But yeah, there's doublethink. That's really, really a key point in 1984. That'd be definitely a good thing to focus on if anyone reads that again.
Okay, so one more question for you. I've heard a lot of people on the left saying there won't be an election in 2028. What's your take on that?
If Republicans continue to just let Trump do literally anything without holding him accountable, then I mean it's not impossible. It's not impossible. I mean, we've seen crazier things happen. Trump is following Putin's plan after the Soviet Union collapsed. Once it collapsed, they kind of had a deal with all the oligarchs in Russia, all the very, very rich. Putin essentially said to them, we're going to let you keep all your money and your power as long as you let me keep all the political power. And we're not going to interfere with you, but if we ask the companies to do something on behalf of the government, you're going to do it. And Trump seems to be doing that with Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, all these big tech guys, and that's why they were at the inauguration with Trump. And those guys believe in a technocracy, which is a global dictatorship based on the techno leaders. Larry Ellison, who Trump had in the White House, believes that we should have a surveillance state with facial recognition technology. Now, why does Trump bring these people in that want facial recognition technology surveilling Americans every second of the day? I don't think that's a good thing. And Trump wants to fire all the agencies that were holding these companies accountable to some extent. He's getting rid of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the National Labor Board, a bunch of other agencies that typically held these companies accountable. So yeah, I mean, as far as future elections, if Americans decide whatever's happening right now is okay, it's okay to just have a constitutional crisis every day and just totally spit in the face of the founding fathers and checks and balances, like he did today with just shutting down federal spending completely without even talking to Congress, who, according to the Constitution, should have the powers of the purse through our checks and balances. If no one's going to stop Trump from just taking all this power in the system, then yeah, it's a really bad point to be at. And I can't even answer your question, because at this point, it seems like Americans are my favorite term, it seems like they're becoming so Trump sexual. They just can't really see what's going on.
As far as by Americans, are you talking the majority of America, or are you talking the average American voter?
No, I mean, Trump won by 1%. Okay, he won by one of the smallest margins in American history. And a lot of voters that voted for him were completely lied to. So, for example, one big lie. Trump tried cutting Social Security with every single budget when he was in office, and people got flyers that Kamala Harris wanted to cut Social Security, tax it, and give it to illegal aliens. That's what the flyer said. Meanwhile, Trump actually did try to cut it in every year for his budgets as president, and Kamala wanted to expand it. So if that kind of lie can stick in the American brain so easily, I am scared what happens when the propaganda machine is in full effect from the White House. And that's like an easily verifiable thing. And also, like, Trump saying that he saved Obamacare. Trump is like, I saved Obamacare, give me credit. And also he's mad at John McCain for saving Obamacare. So, like, yeah, it's really I don't know how to respond to a lot of that stuff. It's really, yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time there. Thanks for the talk.
Yeah, thanks for the call. Hope to see you around. Thank you for calling in.
All right. Bye.
All right, have a good one, man. There's going to be some gives and takes, but that's politics. Well, I'm not giving freedom while Trump takes the Constitution. That's not the give and take I'm going to do. There's no discernible difference between Trump and the establishment left. Both are warmongering sociopaths with allegiances to Wall Street. I hate Trump, but Dems can't look in the mirror. You are useless. I'm sorry, you are useless, though. That's like saying someone that shoots someone is the same as someone that punches someone. There's nuance in everything. I mean, the reason I say you're useless, by the way, and sorry for that chatter, but every election in human history, you would be useless. You would not vote for any election because you'd be complaining, both sides are bad, because you can't deal with any nuance. Like, you are useless in the chess game. You look at a chessboard, be like, well, I don't know what's happening. I give up. Both sides suck. How about you learn how the game works and what the outcomes are? There's always a lesser of two evils argument in every election in human history. Every election is always that. But if you're going to just, like, complain on the outside, like, both parties are bad, find out which one has policies and outcomes. They are tools. Politicians are tools. Make sure you drop a like on the stream, hit subscribe. We need an orange stripe in the pride flag. We need an orange stripe in the pride flag for Trump sexuals. Kid, don't listen to this fool. He wants to talk about how Republicans just make up lies to benefit their arguments, but meanwhile does the exact same thing. Nope, not at all. So, like, for example, Donald Trump will say that the military invaded California to turn the water back on. That just did not happen. That did not happen. That's the thing. That did not happen. Trump's White House today said that we sent $50 million to Gaza. We sent $50 million of condoms to Gaza. That just did not happen. If you could find me one time of a Democrat using their press secretary to say something that false, just like making stuff up, let me know. We can talk about it. We can go through it. We are already paying higher prices. Let's put more tariffs on so we don't get taken advantage of. See, and that's the issue too. Americans don't know how economics works. So when Trump says something completely brain dead like that, like no one knows. No one knows that it's stupid. They think it sounds good. You probably think tariffs are paid by the other country. You pay the tariffs, smart guy. You pay the tariffs. It's like increasing your sales tax. One stretches, okay, so like one party stretches the truth sometimes, okay? Sometimes to a very light extent for political reasons, which every party does in American in human history. That's what political parties do. Another side just like fabricates reality. Another side they fabricate things. They make up evidence. All right, drop a like. Drop a like, hit subscribe. I'm going to shut down my shorts stream and do one reset. This is when we do halftime for the stream. Thank you, channel members. Go to the horizontal stream. I have 2 streams up. There's one YouTube Shorts and one horizontal stream. Again, I'm restarting the Shorts stream. I'll take another call in a few minutes. But we're going to go in the horizontal and hang out for a second. Then I'll restart this one. See you guys on horizontal. Yeah, like Democrats. I'm trying to think of like a Democrat lie. Like, I don't know. That's completely just made up. Like to the extent of the January 6th rioters were heroes. Like, and the cops were the enemies. Or like John Kelly is a weak, pathetic little twerp and Vladimir Putin is a strong American. Like, I don't know any Democrat that would ever say something so anti-American or so un-American, whatever. So anti-America. Drop a like, hit subscribe. Thank you for joining me. Go to the horizontal. I'll be right back. Did someone become a live super chat? No, that was Bucky become a channel member. Okay.